Yeah, this is DJ Easy Dick. Right now, we'll be taking calls from the jack off hour. Any of them jacking off? Just let you know that you have to climax before calling in to the call. DJ Takanaka. Takanaka. Yeah, yes, this is the SFS Wrestler for Wrestling down the Dare Road. We're going into the Dare Road today. Right down the Dare Road today. You know, there's a saying back in the day. If you go down, just wait before you go down the dirt road. Think twice about going down the dirt road because once you go down there might not be any getting out, you know. You see? Anyway, yes, this is the history part of the wrestling podcast. So we're going to continue with 1997. And what I'm up to in 1997 is the Observer Awards for basically 1996, you know. So here we go. Now we're up to the, because we've covered the best wrestlers of the year, not tag teams of the year, but now we're up to the feud of the year, 96. And this is a no-brainer. Yes, the Observer's got this very right. I mean, what do you think was the best feud of 96? What first comes up to your mind when you think of great storylines in 1996? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Obviously, it's Hulk Hogan's heel turn and the NWO. And I got to say, at the start, you know, of the NWO, that was the best time, I think, in mid 96 to late 96 for the NWO, because they only had like 3 members, Hall, Hogan and Nash. I mean, when they added Bischoff and Big Show, was it the Giant, the 4th guy, or was it Bischoff? I'm not sure. I think Virgil was one of the first guys as well, wasn't he? But yeah, the thing is with the NWO, as soon as it started adding just too many members, shit got confusing. But this was like the golden age of the NWO, the start of it. And yeah, feud of the year, WCW versus the NWO. Number 2, I'd have put this at number 3 behind Raven versus the Sandman. But this was a great feud. This is what put Mankind on the mainstream map. I mean, soon as Mankind came, his feud with The Undertaker in 96 was a great feud. If you're a wrestling fan, I'll check this feud out because they had 3, classic matches. My favourite being the Boiler Room Brawl. I think that was at SummerSlam 96. Yeah, so that was kind of like the Attitude Era type thing. Before the Attitude Era kind of thing. I mean, I didn't know they did this type of shit back in 96. But yeah, the feud, the Deadman and Mankind's feud, because really, Mankind really was the first person to really have the Undertaker's number, in my opinion. I mean, obviously Kane took it to a whole new level. Yeah, Kane got into Undertaker's feelings. You know, that was what Kane did. That was what was so special about Kane's debut. Is the Undertaker was actually scared of Kane. But like Mankind, it was like he was Undertaker's equal. Undertaker, knew that Mankind was one crazy motherfucker who'd sit in a boiler room for fucking hours on end, banging his head against a fucking pipe and ripping his hair off and doing deranged shit. And this is the first time that, Paul Bearer, Undertaker and Paul Bearer started having issues. And Paul Bearer went with Mankind, which was great for Mick Foley to start off his run in WWF. I mean, to be honest, Mick Foley was already established, I think, before WWF. I think definitely pro wrestling fans at that time have heard of Mick Foley, and I think, as the years go on, I think they're catering more to the, the diehard fans, because Mick Foley was like the king of the, if you ask the diehard fans probably back then, like they would say like Mick Foley's the one that you need to push. I didn't know that. Anyway, that's a different story for a different time. because I know I go off on not tangents, but just go off subject a bit. So I'm gonna try my best not to just say just about him and Hogan, but it's nothing to do with this anyway. So number 3, I do not know fuck all about this. I'm not dissing New Japan. I've just never watched it. I haven't got time to watch it. But New Japan versus the UW. Fuck, what am I going on in my head today? The UWFI, Universal Wrestling Federation or something. I don't fucking know. I've never heard of it, but obviously the two promotions in Japan that were at war, I suppose, or was it a war within the company? Not fucking sure. Number 4, which should have been number 2 to me, is Raven versus the Sandman. Sorry. This was a fucking great feud. I love this feud. This feud got personal. And Raven, as I said last week, it was so hard to be taken seriously as a heel in ECW, but somehow Raven pulled it off. Because people hated what Raven did, and an average guy would hate it. If someone just, comes into your own life, and you've got a son that's like 6 years old or something, and he's brainwashing your son. Basically, you might have a problem with drinking or something, but then again, Raven's taking advantage of that. You've got a little son, and some dickhead that you don't fucking like, who's your enemy, takes your son from you, basically, and basically kidnaps your son, to be honest, because he's brainwashed his son to hate his dad, and basically takes his wife, as well. I think that was his real wife and his real son. And they had loads of home video skits. Back in the day with them home video, I loved it. I love watching these videos of me, like when I was 3 or 4 years old back in the day in the 90s. I just gotta say the 90s were the best for everything, in my opinion. Movies, music, entertainment, sports. The 90s were the fucking decade for me. A lot of people say the 80s and 70s, but I'm a 90s guy. And if definitely movies. Come on, man. Fucking hell. And music, because you had fucking, the new metal scene, the grunge, and definitely the gangster rap was the shit in the 90s. No more of this pop shit, Backstreet Boys, fucking dick sucking, fucking Steps or fucking S Club 17 or 7, whatever the fuck they were called. And to be honest though, I've got to admit, I did listen to the Spice Girls, and what was it there? Tragedy! What's that other song? Rainy, yeah! Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? That's actually a good song though. I like that song today, to be honest. And I remember that song watching the MTV Music Awards. That Alanis Morrison or something. She won every fucking award, that one. That was the same award show. I know, going back to fucking, my guy. If you've listened to my podcast, you know who my guy is. It was 3 days before he got shot in Vegas. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, I'm going off topic here. I'm just saying, especially 96. 96 was a great year. I remember England making it to the semi-finals, and fucking Southgate missed that penalty, the motherfucker. Now he's made it up, because I think he's done a good job managing England, to be honest. Anyway, number 5, Ric Flair versus the Macho Man, Randy Savage. That rivalry happened before the NWO, in early 1996 and late 95 as well. Yeah, that was the best thing to happen on WCW before it started kicking the shit out of WWF. Anyway, number 6 is El Hidro de Santo versus the Negro of Cross. That's very racist. Who the fuck? Some racist cunt in Mexico or whatever who doesn't like black people must have given that guy the gimmick. Negro Cross sounds that sounds. I'm being serious. That sounds like some fucking KKK shit right there. Who calls someone Negro Cross? I mean, I wouldn't do that. Anyway, number 7. Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Dean Malenko. Yes. they had spectacular, matches in WCW, especially the same pay-per-view of Hogan when he turned heel. I think it was a Bash of the Beach or the Great American Bash. It could have been both the pay-per-views. I haven't checked, but them two or one or two matches they had that year was gold, nearly as good as the matches that Malenko had with Guerrero in ECW the year prior. Yeah, so that deserves to be on there. Number 8, Tommy Dreamer versus Brian Lee. Now, if you don't know who Brian Lee is, I think he was a big deal in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I think Tammy Sitch, Sonny, managed him. I'm not too sure, but he was the big guy in Smoky Mountain who had that big feud with Dirty White Boy and Dirty White Girl, him and Sonny. I think that's the guy. And I think he went on to the WWF and was a member of 8 Ball. You know that fucking motorcycle tag team where them two guys look the fucking... You can't tell which fucking one's which. Between Chains and Skull or some shit. I never knew which one was which of them two. But yeah, I can't remember that feud, so I don't know. Was that in ECW or Smoky Mountain? I'm not sure about. This one obviously definitely was in ECW. Sabu versus RVD. I can't remember them feuding, to be honest. I forgot all about that. I can't remember that feud. I know that Sabu and RVD are really close in real life. And Sabu helped Sabu's father, the well-respected Booker of Detroit's Big Time Wrestling, the original Sheik, trained RVD. Because before RVD got into wrestling, he was a kickboxer. He was a pretty good one. You need to see some of his fights if you got time. To see some of his fights on YouTube. He was pretty crafty, actually, RVD. And he's got a podcast that if I've got time, I'll listen to a bit of it, where he hits you with a bit of RVD psychology, RVDology. Yeah, I mean, he has the same. I'm not going to say he has the same, as he says, values as me, but you know, we both smoke weed. I mean, I don't smoke as much as he does. Not anymore. Probably used to, but I only smoke on like weekends now. So, yeah, he smokes all the time. You know, but yeah, the Zen thing. He's very Zen. RVD. He's very. Just recently on his podcast, he was talking about his arguments with AEW fans, and I kind of agreed with RVD about being a hypocrite. I mean, I think though everyone is a hypocrite. To be honest. In a way, everybody has been a hypocrite at some point in their life. I mean, I probably come across as a hypocrite on this actual episode of the podcast because because I haven't been sounding very happy this week. So, yeah, I might sound like a bit of a hypocrite, or I might have a reason why I was angry, but I don't want to get into it again. Anyway, number 10 is Rey Mysterio versus Psychosis. Now, I know they had some classic, stupendous matches in ECW that will go down as one of the greatest Mexican matches in America ever. And Rey Mysterio and Psychosis are the best representations of the Mexicana, the Aztecs from Mexico. And that's why they should leave the border open, because especially for people like this to come in, because they do a lot for America. Like entertain us. And Mexicans are America. To be honest, if you want to go deep with America, this is the last time I'm going to talk about anything even remotely to do with society or politics. I am just making a point that everyone in America, if you really go deep, is an immigrant. Everybody, except from the native Indians, because basically, the Europeans stole America from the native Indians. So that's all I want to say. I'm not dissing America. I'm just spitting facts, to be honest. Anyway, the previous winners. Hey, now we're going right into the archives, deep inside the dungeon of the Library of Wrestling. Jim Cornette will fucking love the shit out of this. Previous winners, 1980. Bruno Sammartino, the longest running WWF champion of all time, versus Larry Zbyszko. Yeah, two legends right there. And 1981 was Andre the Giant versus Killer Khan. I don't know who Killer Khan. I've heard the name, but I don't know what he looks like, Killer Khan. See, I'm not so much of a diehard wrestling fan, because obviously a real diehard wrestling fan and a very intelligent wrestling historian like the guy that resides at Castle Cornette, Jim Cornette himself, would know about this. 1982, before he was the $1 Million Man and getting kids to kiss his feet, the dirty bastard, was Ted DiBiase versus the King of Mid-South, because he really was the King of Mid-South, Junkyard Dog. He was a big draw in Mid-South, was the Junkyard Dog. I mean, Bill Watts pushed him to the moon. 1983, now we're going down to Texas, down to the good old Texas territory. The Sportatorium, Austin, these are Stone Cold's favourite matches. What I've heard on his podcast, that Austin used to, skip school or whatever, or after school get pissed up with his mates and just fucking go to watch the Freebirds versus the Von Erichs. So yeah, so 1983 and 1984, the Freebirds versus the Von Erichs won the feud of the year. 1985, this was before he was $1 Million Man, because I think it was 87 we came in, was $1 Million Man, and smash a fucking 2x4 for your head and march into the Capitol and kill all the politicians. Sorry, I'm not joking. Jim Duggan, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Yeah, I always like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, fan favourite. 1986 was Hulk Hogan versus Mr. Wonderful. Oh, he's wonderful. Oh, he's fucking wonderful. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Wonderful, I've heard, was one of the toughest wrestlers. I mean, that's saying something about Mr. Wonderful back in the day, because, obviously it's evident to me that wrestlers, as far as you go further back in the history of wrestling, the more tougher the wrestlers in real life actually were, So yeah, I know Hogan was in a tag match with Mr. T, at WrestleMania 1 versus Mr. Wonderful and Randy Orton's dad, Cowboy Bob Orton. 1987, we got the King of Puppies. Jerry Lawler really he really hates midgets to say what he said about fucking Max Mini committing suicide by jumping off a curb. I mean, come on, Jerry, who the fuck says that? You nasty bastard. I can remember when you was fucking with Jake the Snake and fucking, because he was an alcoholic, which he really was, and you tossed fucking whiskey down his throat. Come on, Lawler. I remember him saying some fucked up shit though. I think it was a UK pay-per-view, man. You gotta see it. I think it was called Insurrection, right? And the Dudleys were wrestling, but fucking King comes out with some fucked up shit about Devon Dudley. Sounds proper fucking racist. And like, the JR goes sick at him. He's like, get the fuck off commentary. I'm sorry, fucking viewers in England. This guy must be off his fucking head or on something. I'm really sorry. We shouldn't have brought this guy to this country. You're not fit to travel and shit like that. Seriously. I think it was a Dudley Boys match at Insurrection. I can't remember what year. But yeah, Jerry Lawler was fucking great on the commentary. And yeah, he was a great wrestler. I mean, is this a handicap feud? Because 1987 said Jerry Lawler versus Austin Idol. And the Wild Man Wrestler of all wrestlers, Tommy Rich. Yeah, 1988. I think this is in Memphis. I think Cornette managed one of these teams. Midnight Express versus the Fantastics. I don't know if it's Memphis, Mid-South, or Crockett. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, to wrestling fans, this was a great, great feud. 1989, I can vouch for this feud because I've watched this feud, which was a bloody fucking great one. Between two of the greatest of all time, Ric Flair versus the Funker. The Funk Man, Terry Funk! And my horse is damn ill, you son of a bitch! I got to damn milk the cows at 4 every damn morning. I got to take Stinky for a walk. Oh, Stinky, you might be getting ill now. Don't sniff your butt for too long, Stinky. Anyway, yes, Terry Funk and Ric Flair. It was after the trilogy, which was the classic trilogy between Flair and Steamboat, and the Terry Funk pile drives. Was it Steamboat or Flair? I can't remember. Fucking hell, my memory's fucked. It was definitely Flair. I think he did that famous power drive on the table because and that's what started the feud off between Flair and Funk, which was a bloody good feud and had some bloody good matches. 1990, here we go with the mechanic guys again, and a jumbo Taurus. So this must be an electric car. So I don't know if I don't know something about Japan. Maybe they're sneaky fucks who've been having electric cars for over fucking 20 fucking 30 fucking years. Yeah. And we don't fucking know. You see, everyone in the world's watching Russia and fucking North Korea and fucking China. What about the Japanese, man? How do you know what they're fucking up to? They're just fucking, they move in silence. That's all I can say. These Japanese move in silence. You don't know what these Japanese are up to. I'm telling you what, in World War II, they were a force to be reckoned with. Was Japan. Anyway, yeah, they did that for 2 years. So Japan. 1992. This sounds Memphis all the way. The Moondogs versus Jerry Lawler and Jeff Jarrett. I've never been a fan of Jeff Jarrett, to be honest. Nothing against Jeff Jarrett. It's just I've never seen him as a top guy. I heard this story that he was supposed to be the next in line for Austin, and it went to Triple H in '99, which was great because Triple H was because Austin just finished his feud with McMahon off that first blood match with the Taker, and then he went straight into a feud with Triple H. And if you really look back at that feud, it lasted from summer '99 to No Way Out 2001. Which this is my opinion, okay? I think that 3 Stages of Hell match is my favorite ever match. It's just my opinion. With Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I think that feud between Austin and Triple H is very underrated. Because Triple H was the next in line, because Austin and McMahon kind of, I wouldn't say ran its course, but it probably needed a bit of a break. And obviously, who was the next heel? Because Austin already went against The Undertaker and all that. It was Triple H. And everyone who fucking shits on Triple H, right? I'm not a fan of his booking, no. But, you say, oh, Triple H was fucking, because of Stephanie, Triple H was a star. As Austin would say, you son of a bitch. No. Triple H was a champion in August 1999, way before he went into any storyline with Stephanie McMahon, if you do your research. I'm not trying to be a smart ass, I'm just saying that's the fact. And that's when Austin and Triple H rivalry started. Obviously, Austin went out for a year, but then the rivalry got even more heated up when Austin came back, because Triple H was the guy behind Rikishi running over Stone Cold Steve Austin. You dumb son of a bitches. Anyway, I just love that rivalry. Not obviously I'm not going to compare it with Austin and Vince, but 93 anyway. Sorry, I'm getting off course. Bret the Hitman Hart, one of the greatest to ever do it, versus Jerry Lawler, one of the greatest to ever do it. Yeah, I think they started at King of the Ring 93. Yeah, and Jerry Lawler played a fucking great heel before he went on to full-time announcing, especially in the WWF. And I've watched his stuff in Memphis, and he was the king of Memphis. You know, he was the king of Memphis after Elvis died. He basically, Jerry Lawler got his crown. 1994, the Gringo Locos. So he must be Mexican from America. The Gringo Locos, because he's a loco. So he's a certified J. Certified vato, papi, eh? Yeah, Gringo Locos versus Mexican. Oh, this must be a promotional feud versus Mexican AAA, because AAA is a promotion in America. In Mexico, a very, very, it's like the WWF of Mexico is AAA. Very, very popular in Mexico. 1995, I agree wholeheartedly with this. Dean Malenko versus Eddie Guerrero. Actually, no, I don't actually. Raven versus Tommy Dreamer. To be honest, I'll go with in 95. Yeah, Malenko and Eddie had the better wrestling matches, but come on, man. Tommy Dreamer and Raven. Their feud was one of the greatest feuds of all time, in my opinion. Right. Tag Team of the Year in 1996. Oh, here we go again. The Mitsubishi Man Misawa versus Jun Akiyama. I've never, yeah. Anyway, the second best tag team of 96 goes to the Eliminators. Great fucking tag team. Great. Perry Saturn is so underrated. I hope he's doing well as well. Oh yeah, just going off script a little bit. Mick Foley is okay. And I'm glad that Mick Foley is okay. He went through an MRI scan. That can't look fucked. No, I was worried actually. I don't know, I'm just a big fan of Mick Foley's. So I was pretty worried, man. I was like, nah, this cannot be happening to a nice guy like Mick Foley. Because he is a really nice guy in real life. And, yeah, fucking hell, I felt bad. Because I thought that if you see a fucking car wreck like that in a car crash that's gone off the fucking motorway, you're thinking this guy is seriously fucking injured where he's going to be crippled for the rest of his life. Or he's dead. And that's what was going through my head. And then I did a bit of digging and saw Mick Foley was alright. He was actually standing next to the car that looked like it'd been through fucking 20 demolition derbies, and he was smiling. That is typical Mick Foley, isn't it? When he got chokeslammed through the cell and a fucking tooth was stuck up his nose, he was fucking smiling. He enjoys the pain. Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to, say that. But Perry Saturn as well has, been through some really tough things in the past few years since he left wrestling. I think he's doing all right now. But Perry Saturn is a legend, in my opinion. Very underrated. Number 3, Toshika, Toyoto? No, not Toyoto, man. I don't think it's Toyoto, man. It's Toshiki Kawada and Akira Toi. Toi. I don't know how you pronounce it. Number 4, we got Big Moon, Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and oh God, people power. Oh, goddamn! What lady can I pin down for Vince to have a shit on her head tonight? Oh, people power. I'm just doing what's best for business. Because I'm a dirty fucking pervert. Fucking cunt. I just don't like Johnny Ace. Ever since I first saw him, his stupid fucking voice just annoyed the fuck out of me. And obviously, he's obviously with this big fucking lawsuit with McMahon. He's probably the main culprit, to be honest. He's probably the one who led McMahon astray. I don't fucking know, you know what I mean? I know he's the father of Animal, or he's related to Animal, which I've got a lot of respect for. The second best tag team of all time, the LOD, but still, fuck nah. I'm not saying, anything about Johnny Ace, but, a lot of, because other wrestlers have said, anyone in the business, as well as Hulk, has got their opinions on Johnny Ace, Johnny Laurinaitis. I never knew that he actually wrestled, but I bet he was a pussy. Anyway, number 5. I think this is German. This sounds very German to me. Dan Krofata and Doug Finesse. I've heard of Doug Finesse. I don't know what he looks like. Number 6. Oh, here we go again. How can I do this again? Masahiro Chono versus Hirotoshi Tanzania. Might be the Japanese version of the Tasmanian Devil. Oh no, come on, more fucking mechanic cars again. Manami Toyota versus Mimi Shimoda. That sounds like a fucking Japanese mobile phone to me. Number 8, great tag team. I've got a lot of respect for this tag team. Harlem Heat. Fucking loved it. I actually thought they were from Harlem, but they're actually not from Harlem. Booker T's not from Harlem, it's from Houston, which don't matter. But obviously they had to put Harlem because, at the time, I think in the mid-90s, and still today, man, Harlem is, one of the most ghetto-ish ghettos in America. I mean, it's got a very rich African American Puerto Rican culture as Harlem. Number 9 is basically Guy and Tai, Takemichi Nuko and Funaki. Yeah. I don't know if this is in Japan or ECW. I don't think they're in the WWF at this time. And number 10, Owen Hart and the Bulldog. I mean, if you look at all these tag teams, obviously my favourite by far is Owen and the Bulldog. I mean, that whole fucking Hart family, Stampede family, is my type of wrestling. I just love the Hart Foundation. I really did. In 97, can't beat what the Hart Foundation did with the feud with Austin. Fucking great. Here we go. Previous winners. This is not my opinion. This is Uncle Meltzer's opinion, as Cornette would say. 1980 got Terry Gordy, was a big deal, and Buddy Roberts. I've heard of Buddy Roberts, but I don't know what he looks like. 1981, you got Terry Gordy and Jimmy Abuja. He must be from the Middle East. Sorry, but that just sounds like a Middle Eastern name. 1982, you can't get any tougher than these two motherfuckers. Stand handsome, boy. Turn it down the mic. I'll give you that damn lariat from damn hell, boy. I'll give you a damn good Texas ass whipping, boy, after I break San Martino's neck, motherfucker. Yeah, Stan Hansen and Ole Anderson. Is Ole Anderson related to Arn Anderson? I really want to know that. 1983, one of my favourite wrestlers of the 80s, by far, the Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. I think Jay Youngblood was a big deal in it's either Stampede or Mid-South, I think. I could be wrong. So if I'm wrong, I'll know which territory he was big, but he was very big in the territory days. 1984. This was when they debuted. My second favourite tag team of all time. The Road Warriors. Fucking great. The Road Warriors they were the real fucking deal, man. The only tag team that, I liked better were the Steiners. But Road Warriors were fucking great. 1985. Fucking hell, this could be my third greatest tag team of all time. If this tag team, if Dynamite Kid didn't get hurt like he did in 86, this could have been one of the greatest tag teams of all time, in my opinion. The British Bulldogs. I mean, really. 1986, we got Bobby Eaton, and 1987. 86 and 87, the winners on the Observer goes to Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane. I think they were in Memphis, I think. Very known in the territory days. 1989. Another classic tag team of Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, the Rockers. The ladies wanted to be with him and the men wanted to be him. Yeah. 1990, yes. Here we go. My favourite tag team of all time by a landslide. The Steiner Brothers. Yeah. I'll give him the award every year until they retired, but there you go. Here we go. 1991, Misawa and Kawada. Yeah, they sound very similar. Misawa and Kawada. Yeah. 1982, Terry Gordy and Dr. Death Steve Williams. I can't remember that tag team at all. 1993, two legends. And yes, they deserved this because they were very underrated at the time. And yes, I agree with Meltzer. He saw something in both Brian Pillman, who was called Frying Brian at the time, and Steve Austin, who was called Stunning Steve Austin at the time. This was great. They were a great tag team. I don't know why they split them up, but the Hollywood Blondes. I mean, if you can't say, people say Austin was not a good in-ring technician. Fucking watch the Hollywood Blondes. They were the best technicians in the early days of WCW. And in the early days of WCW, they had some pretty good technicians in that ring in the early days, even though the product was a bit shit in the early 90s, but you still had some great wrestlers. 1994, Love Machine and Eddie Guerrero. That can't be right. It must be Art Bar and Eddie Guerrero, which I can agree with, because they were one of the greatest tag teams ever to come out of Mexico. In 1995, we've got Misawa and Kenta. Right, so they're the tag teams of the past, and yeah. Now, most improved wrestler of 1996. Before I go into this, my number one by far, if you look at the year 1996, goes to Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was his year on the come up. 97 was when 97, I don't think was Austin's come up year. I think Austin was a top guy in 97. Because if you look at 97, Austin was the most popular wrestler in WWF. You know, as popular as Brett and Taker and Shawn were, who had the most merchandise sold? Who was getting the biggest pops in 97? You know, it was Austin. In 96, the crowd was starting to take to Austin, especially when he started feuding with Brett. The crowd really started taking to Austin. You know, and they started even in late 96, they started cheering Austin over Brett, if you examine closely. You know, it was like half and half. By WrestleMania 13, it kind of fully changed. But yeah, for Austin not to be the most improved 96 is kind of bullshit, Meltzer. Maybe you lost your fucking head back then. Anyway, number 1, Diamond Dallas Page. I'd put him at number 2. Yes, he was great. Greatly improved. He's probably a bigger star than Austin at the time, was Diamond Dallas Page. Because in 96 he really was. He was that kind of elevated himself to like top guy status, kind of on Sting's level in WCW. And yeah, he was like the main guy who the fans really wanted to see beat Hulk Hogan was Diamond Dallas Page at that time. Number 2, Taka Michinoku. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Taka though, because in 96, I think I've said this before, in 96 and 97, if you watch Taka, when WWF had that lightweight championship thing, right? Taka was fucking great. He was a great fucking wrestler. And the shit he did in ECW was absolutely outstanding. But I don't fucking know, about second. Number 3, Jun Akiyama. Yeah, that Akiyama guy again. Well, he must have been a big deal in Japan. Yeah, number 4. Yeah, I had to wait till 4, you motherfucker. The Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin should have whipped Meltzer's ass for this damn list, you dumb little Mark son of a bitch. You mealy mouth bastard. Anyway, number 5, Mark Miro. Yeah, I mean, 96, I think he was still, quite a big deal. Because Mark Miro was the first guy I've heard, this is all what I've heard through listening to various podcasts. He's the first guy, along with Brett. No, not even Brett got it. I think Mark Miro was the first guy in WWF to get a guaranteed contract. Because he just didn't do guaranteed contracts until Mark Miro. That's what I heard. Number 6, Yuji Nakata. Or Nikata. Yeah, I don't know who he is, but must be a big deal in Japan. Number 7, Anyway, RVD, the whole fucking show. Yeah, I think he debuted. Yeah, he made his debut in 96, didn't he? In ECW, did RVD, and he quickly became. He was a heel at first, but who can hate RVD, man? After a while, once you see RVD for a bit, it's just like when he came in the WWF from ECW and tried to get him as a heel. He just weren't. The crowd just weren't going for it. They just cheered the fuck out of him. Yeah. I'd have put him higher up the list, to be honest. Number 8, Buff the Stuff Bagwell. Yeah, the buff man himself, Buff Bagwell. He was alright, Buff Bagwell. He had the look and all that. I need to analyse his wrestling more. I'm not too... not that I'm not too keen on his wrestling. I'm not too clued up on his wrestling. Because he's always presented himself as with his looks kind of thing, if you know what I mean. Number 9, Halloween. Who the fuck is that? Someone with a gimmick, Halloween. What, is he dressed up with fucking Michael Myers or Jason? I don't fucking know. It weren't fucking Fake Diesel or, Kane, one of fucking Kane's early gimmicks, where he did that fucking deranged dentist for Jerry Lawler. So number 10 is Shinjiro Otani. Oh yeah, Otani. He's the guy on FMW, I think. I got respect for that guy. Fucking Otani. Revolutionary right there. Is Otani. Yeah, I like Otani. Right, most improved previous winners. 1980, we had Larry Sabisco. 1981, we had Adrian Adonis. He's a fucking weird cunt, him. Even I think that guy was weird, and I'm the undisputed original motherfucking weirdo. Growing up, never seen a day in my life normal from institution medication. Oh, I can't do it anymore. But I've got a song called Weirdo. It's on the Dodgy Odgy LP. It's my favourite song that I did, to be honest. To be honest, I'm not trying to big myself up, but I do think, if I didn't know it was me, I do think the chorus, especially the hook on the Weirdo song I did, was pretty good. And I do think the song was pretty good, to be honest. If, and I understand that if I didn't know it was me. To be honest. That's just my opinion on me. That's all I gotta say. Me. Fucking me. 1983, the legend himself, Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. It said Mr. Perfect, but was me? Nah, it can't be. He wasn't Mr. Perfect yet, was he? I don't know. Anyway, it don't matter. 1984, the Cobra. It can't be after Sly's film that took over the movie industry in the. I won't say took over, but was a big hit. Let's say in the mid '80s, along with his other films like Rambo and his Rocky series. Yeah, the Cobra was a fucking classic film, but I don't think it came out in '84. It might have done. They might have named it after Stallone's legendary character, the Cobra. Not 1985. Dr. Death Steve Williams. I think this is Japan because he spent a lot of time in Japan, I heard, did Dr. Death Steve Williams. 1986, Ricky Steiner. Hoo, hoo! Yeah, fucking... Yeah, I mean, I think he started before his brother, Scott. Yeah, I think Scott came in about 2 years after him. Obviously, Scott is the... Nothing again, not saying, doing Rick down, because Rick is a legend. And just, in my opinion, Scott was the... not at first. First, actually, it was Rick. But once Scott came into the Big Bad Booty Daddy, then, Freakzilla, when he turned into Freakzilla, it was, Scott Steiner was the biggest star, but both of them were fucking legends. Anyway, 1987, Big Bubba Rogers. Is that the Big Boss Man? The Big Boss Man, It must be. I'm not sure, I'll have to check. 1988, Sting, the Stinger. I don't know, 1988. What about the Macho Man? No, he weren't the most... Oh, yeah, most improved. Fucking hell, I'm forgetting what list you. Yeah, I suppose. 1989, yeah, Lex Luger. He was actually a good wrestler, Lex Luger, when he first started. I mean, as his career went on, he became more just about his looks kind of thing, but no, he could work, Lex could. And if you watch his matches in the 80s and early 90s in WCW, he could work. Lex could. 1990, Kenta Kobashi! Yeah, very much a big deal in Japan. 1991, Dusty Sunny says, me son Goldie Dust, the transsexual diamond of gold of Dustin Rhodes. Nah, Dustin's a great wrestler. Yeah. Is he as big as Dusty's other son, the man in WWE right now, Cody? No. He must be a lot older than Cody though, mustn't he? Like fucking 20 years older or something. I don't know. 1992, El Samurai. That's what it says, El Samurai. Well, yeah, it must be a secret samurai warrior who pretended to be a wrestler in Japan. 1993, Tracy Smothers. I think I know who this is. He's that guy in Smoky Mountain that wears that, what a lot of people consider to be racist. I did. I thought it was the KKK flag. Do you know that red flag? The red flag with the blue cross on it. I always thought that was a KKK flag. I know it has KKK connotation to it, but it doesn't actually. Someone told me it doesn't actually mean that. It means just representing the very south, the south of the South, if you know what I mean. So but yeah, the South was very racist at the time, but I think it was just a kind of Southern independence or something. So it weren't actually a KKK flag. I could be wrong, but I don't think it was. But he wore that on his jacket, and he was kind of a big deal in Smoky Mountain. He had a good feud with Chris Candido there. 1994, Diesel. Kick his ass, Seabass! Yeah, Kevin Nash reminded me a lot of Seabass from Dumber and Dumber. Kevin Nash. Especially when he was Diesel. I don't know if he got that off Seabass. I'm not sure. 1995, Johnny, be bad. Johnny, be bad. I think Johnny, be bad was actually Mark Miro. Yeah, he was a good wrestler in WCW. Some of his matches, he's I wouldn't say his work, I'd say his athleticism was great. Right, now we go to most unimproved of 1996. This one I can't agree with, just because people think he's a fucking rat bastard piece of shit of a person, meaning Hulk Hogan, doesn't mean, come on, man, he was not the most unimproved in 1996 at all. Because, Hulk went through a big transformation in 96, turning into Hollywood Hulk Hogan. You can say what you want about Hulk Hogan, yeah, I get it. But, I can't, I don't know the guy. It's like all these motherfuckers on the internet talking shit about him. I get it. But at the end of the day, man, why? I've done it, so I can't really say. I probably sound hypocritical, to be honest. But I think this was for a reason, not because of Hulk Hogan, the performer, but Terry Bollea, really. Because 1996, no, I can see every other year, but not 96, because Hulk Hogan was kind of the driving force behind the NWO. To me, it was the biggest driving force behind NWO was Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, definitely. But Hogan coming on definitely kickstarted it off to a new level. And, that's how WCW did their 83 weeks, was because of that. And it happened in 1996, so no, that is bullshit. Hulk Hogan no way should he be number one and the most unimproved. And number two, this should no way be, I think, is Vader. I mean, yeah, he had that match against Shawn Michaels, but that might have been Shawn's fault. What happened with Vader and Shawn at SummerSlam? To be honest, the WWF did Vader wrong. Because Vader was a top guy in WCW and a top guy in Japan. But that's what I mean, man. The WWF and E whatever is totally different from wrestling, really, isn't it? It's Vince viewed it as more sports entertainment. I mean, if you want to see anyone who really exposed the business, it was kind of Vinnie Mac, because he was doing it back then, and breaking the fourth wall, man. Vince was doing that in the 80s. I mean, a lot of people do it a lot more often today, but I'm saying Vince did it a lot back then. And number 3, one of my favourite wrestlers of the WWF gimmick era. Actually, my favourite. Oh, yeah, the Macho Man. I don't know. Maybe, because obviously he was a big deal in the years prior, obviously, so maybe. Number 4, Psycho Sid. I can't agree with that. I think Sid revitalised his career in 96 when he came back to the WWF. And that match against Shawn Michaels where Shawn just got booed to fuck in Madison Square Garden. And Sid was a fan favourite, man. He was my fan favourite. I love Sid. No wrestler looks as scary as Sid. No. He looks like a fucking serial killer. Seriously. He does look like a fucking psycho. That's why I call him Psycho Sid. He looks like he went from state to state, because a lot of wrestlers did back in the day. And I'm guaranteeing you, I'm going to come up with some fucking gems. I'm going to come up with some cold case files, investigations throughout the states of America to find out. Because I bet you there's fucking at least 1 to 5 wrestlers that were serial killers. Because think about it, man. You're talking about the 70s and 80s. This is when Ted Bundy and fucking Edmund Kemper and fucking Richard Ramirez, and fucking John Wayne Gacy and the Green River Killer were doing all this shit. That was a serial killer academic in the 70s and 80s. If it was, because there was hardly any cameras. That fucking police didn't cooperate. I heard with other policemen in other states. So serial killers used to go by and fucking from state to state and kill motherfuckers and get away with it. Especially in, what's the best job to be a serial killer? Truck driver, fucking wrestler, because that's pretty much you're an athlete but a part-time truck driver, really, especially back in them days. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Number 5, Lex Luger, maybe. Number 6, so bullshit, makes me want to throw up, Scott Hall. No way. Scott Hall was the first motherfucker in NWO, you motherfucking cocksucker, Meltzer. Now, if that's your opinion, Meltzer, but I can't see anyone else who watched closely in 96 saying Scott Hall unimproved in 96. Maybe later when, the drink started to get to him, maybe. But not in 96, no. Scott Hall was one of the biggest fucking stars in 96, so no. That is bullshit. Number 7, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Probably, yeah, he kind of lost his step a bit by then. Number 8, Barry Windham. I don't know. I know he was a big deal in the 80s. Number 9, Stan Hansen. I mean, I think Stan Hansen were getting on a bit by 96, weren't he? So. Number 10, so much bullshit again. How can you say this? Kevin Nash. No way, man. Kevin Nash in 96 was fucking elevated himself. I mean, he was big. He was great as Diesel. But in 96, man, Kevin Nash elevated himself to a whole new level in wrestling. You know, and he stayed there, Kevin Nash. You know, he didn't lose his step. You can say what you want about Kevin Nash, man, about him having limited moves, man. The guy was 7 feet tall. He didn't need to do much. You know, just his look. You know, and I heard through the grapevine that Kevin Nash was one tough motherfucker back in the day. He'd clean out bars. And he was in thousands of fights. And all of them, he kind of won. So, there you go. I mean, people say about Kevin Nash, like, his podcast, he sounds bitter and all that, but I heard that his son died, and he was only 26. I mean, anything like that, come on, man, it's gonna crush you. So, you know, even him doing a podcast still is kind of courageous of him to do. So, I kind of disagree with people saying that about Nash, you know, because I think, you know, he sounds like a decent guy to me. You know, he's definitely clever. You know, he knows what he's talking about. So, it's just because he was fucking kind of. Well, he wasn't actually, because he doesn't like Hulk Hogan, but people always attach him to Hogan and fucking behind the scenes manipulator and all that. And I don't know, and I don't give a fuck, to be honest. You know. Anyway, how far am I in now? Fucking hell, 57. I'm gonna have to take a little break. I don't think I'll be reviewing Super Brawl. It's 94. I thought it was 93, but no, it's 94. But no, I don't. Fucking hell, I don't know how these things take so long. Yeah, I'll come back in a couple of minutes. Because I like to do 45 minutes and then an interval. Right. Yeah. Be back. I'll be back.